coloring concrete with paint. I'm going to show you two ways to do it. Kind of like a lighter, subtle coloration and then a darker, bolder, more vivid coloration. So latex or acrylic paints, these are something that you can add to concrete. Acrylic is commonly used as a concrete admixture. This acrylic fortifier would make concrete more resistant to water permeation. It would make it stronger. There's a bunch of stuff that it does to enhance concrete, and latex paint more or less does the same thing, plus it adds color, so it's perfect. And you can use all sorts of, wild color combinations and stuff like that. Great for picking up mist tints and things like that. So the thing about using paint to color concrete, it takes a lot. Concrete is the color it is, and it wants to stay that way. First, there's kind of two base colorations to work with. Gray, which I'm sure you're familiar with, and then there's also white. And if you're looking into coloring concrete, especially using paint, probably you want to find yourself some white concrete. Here we've got some gray Portland cement and some brown sand. That's kind of like your standard mortar / concrete mix. You can also buy white Portland cement, and then there's all kinds of white sand. This isn't even fully white sand. This is like a salt and pepper silica sand here that I've got, but it still makes a very light finished color. Actually, look, I've got some right here. A little bit in the bottom of the bucket. I'm going to show you how when we add some green acrylic paint, we're going to be able to change this color. Now, there's a reason why I only have a very small amount in the bottom of the bucket here, and the reason why is you need a ton of paint, because even the white cement wants to stay white. You have to add a lot of color. That's why I'm showing you both a lighter and a darker variation for color. So let's go ahead and get started here. Very scientific amount that we're adding. About a third of the bottle, I don't know, 30 milliliters, something to that degree. Not very much. But then again, we don't have very much concrete. It's worth mentioning, if you're going to add paint to concrete, it's probably helpful to add the paint directly to the water that you're going to be adding. The paint is water-based, it will dissolve in the water. You pour in the water and you get an even distribution of the color. I'm adding this paint right to a finished mix here because I have some left and I want to use it and show you this example. But it's a little harder to get consistent coloration there. I can see that to do this without having like dark spots and light spots, I'd really have to mix this up for a little while. I mean, it's slightly mint green. Let's add just a little more. I mean, I'm looking for Kermit green. That's the green base color that we're working with. Very mint green. So we've mixed green paint into a white concrete mix. About 50 milliliters of paint into what's a couple of handfuls of white sand and white cement, and what we've achieved is very much like a muted pastel green. This is very common for paint coloration to concrete. If I wanted a really bright color, I'd have to add so much of the paint that it probably would compromise the integrity of the mix. It's just not how you get bold coloration with concrete. It's just not. So let me show you a way that we can do. I mean, it's fun. It's not gray. It's definitely green, like light mint green. But if you want a bolder color, here's a way that you can do it. So we're going to take that same stuff there. To that, we're going to mix just a little bit of this Portland cement, white Portland cement specifically. I don't need much here. Specifically, you don't want much. A little bit of water goes a long way. And I'm just going to use a little paintbrush here just to try to mix this up. I'm going for like cake batter consistency if I can get it. That would be ideal. This is called a slurry. So this is what I have right now. There's that Kermit green color we were going for. Oh boy, is it ever. Still, it takes on that minty look because it is white cement. And kind of just picture the white cement as another paint. Like if you were to take half white paint and half green paint, put them together, what's the color you'd get? Probably that right there. I could go more, like a stronger coloration here, but I don't want to go too heavy with the paint. I've noticed that sometimes if you go too heavy with the paint, you can end up with some surface cracking. It's a very minor surface detail. It's not a structural crack or anything, but any cosmetic deficiency, you know, if you can avoid it, you want to. And I find that there's kind of a limit to how much paint you can use. You know, the exact amount, I couldn't tell you. Probably I'm pretty close to 25% of the liquid content in here is the paint. That would be a pretty good estimate, I think. Okay, so now that we've got this slurry, let's compare it to our other mix here. You can see that we've definitely achieved a more vivid coloration. I mean, it's still a little bit subdued. Okay, fine, you convinced me. I'll add some more. Just a little bit, though. It will be very important when I apply this slurry into my mold here, don't let it pool. Like I've got some kind of deeper recesses where the nose and the mouth are. And if I let this slurry pool in those locations, almost certainly there's going to be cracking, at least of the surface variety, if not worse. So very important to just put a skin layer of this slurry in here. That's a neat color. I like that. Super fun. Okay, so with this slurry, again, you got to pull it out of those recesses. Don't let it pool in there too deeply. You want a nice, even consistency to the thickness. Don't let it dry or skin over. You got to get that mix in there right away. So in this color example, on the back side of the piece, we'll have this lighter, mintier green. And then, of course, on the face there, we should have this darker, more vibrant green from the slurry, which we've used. My mix is a little on the dry side here. Would not surprise me to see some pock marks in that finished product. So I'm going to vibrate it here and just see what I can do to reduce on that. That will do nicely. All right, and I'll see you back in a couple of days when I demold this. Here we are back with the two-tone green casting. Let's go ahead and pull it out here, see how it turned out. So that's the darker color. Oh, I mean, you hardly even see anything when you flip it over. Of course, it's definitely there. I mean, surely you can see the difference. It's there. A little bit of water. It's like that glow-in-the-dark green color. So there's the backside color. I like him. A little bit of pitting there again, you know. A vibration table would solve all of these problems. I should probably get one of those things. Maybe I'll make one. Oh, he looks great. Fantastic. Okay, so that's how you make green concrete. I mean, again, with all of these, no matter how hard you try, they're very subdued for color. It's very hard to add vivid color to concrete, like you see the pink concrete or fuchsia concrete there. By comparison, that's pretty bright, but it's kind of a rarity to come by. You know, we've done pretty well with the green. It would have been nice to get more vibrant, but that's as strong as we could get. And as you saw, in comparison to the backside here, which is at best like a pale minty green, the front side coloration is pretty good. Pretty happy with that. I hope you found this information helpful.